Well, hello and welcome to episode number 413 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. In this week's show, Easyjet has to hit Control Alt Delete 3 times. One crew member has a few bevies on board, and one airline is turning to using Lego aircraft. In the military news this week, grey aircraft fly around and make lots of noise, and Top Gun is finally released, and I loved it. Joining me this week are, I was so going to read that out, but I'm not going to. Joining me this week across the village from me.
Notes to me for some reason. I don't know what.
Refresh your notes, Matt. Refresh your notes.
I don't want to. I'm scared. Yeah.
Joining me this week are Matt Smith over in the PTUK studios.
Hello. You're a bit distracted. What's going on? I'm concerned.
The thing of it is, I writ that intro, but I was then about to read it, and I thought, no, don't read that. No.
Oh dear. Why? What did you nearly say? I'm scared.
Well, you'll have to refresh your show notes.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes. Anyway, hello. Yes, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Oh, just absolutely fine. Fantastic. Still trying to get rid of the scars in my memory of seeing you drunk last weekend at the barbecue.
Oh, come on. I wasn't that bad.
Honestly, you should have seen him, guys.
I was well behaved.
He was waffling on about Airbus and Boeing. I just couldn't shut him up. It's terrible. It's amazing what drink will do to me.
Very different barbecue to the one I remember.
Anyway, joining us as well this week, all across the other side of the UK, in sunny, glorious countryside of Buckinghamshire, it is, of course, wearing his uniform, Mr. Neville Bounds.
It is sunny as well. Very nice. Bit windy today, but no, very nice and very pleasant over here, I must say. So, no, had a good week. Bit of flying, Stockholm and back on Monday and Tuesday. And I'd like to say that all the passengers on BA 776 and 783 respectively all behaved themselves, which makes a change from the previous week. So that's good. Let's hope it bodes well for next week's flying.
Yeah, safe to say, Nev, it's been a funny old week in the world of travel with the airline. For a few airlines this week, it's safe to say.
Yes, there's a lot happening this week, isn't there?
There is a lot.
We'll talk about that very shortly. I'm sure.
We will. Yeah. But just quickly, I did go and see Top Gun on Wednesday this week when it was released here in the UK. I didn't go at 1 minute past midnight, unlike some people I do know who did go and see it at 1 minute past midnight. But I did go and see Top Gun in the IMAX cinema at the Odeon. I have to say, apart from the only way to see it has got to be IMAX, it is a awesome film. I'm not going to say anything about what happens because it'll just ruin it for the people who haven't seen it yet. But it's safe to say it was so good, I will be going back to see it a second time because it was very, very good indeed. Because sometimes sometimes when they do sequels to very popular, very well made and brilliant films, sometimes the sequels can be a bit meh. But they've done really well with this. It's been well worth the wait, anyway, to see Top Gun. So if you haven't seen it yet, book your tickets, go and see it because you will thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm looking forward to doing it. I mean, are you able to give us any teasers at all? Is there anything we need to watch out for that was award-winning, fabulous, all of the above?
I will say one thing: they've thought of the story. They've thought the story along very, very well indeed. What they've done with the storyline, and they have also incorporated a lot of the tunes and the soundtracks from the original film. You know, the original Top Gun film, when it opens, the original Top Gun film has that epic that music. I forget the name of it. The actual Top Gun theme music at the start. That's it. That's the one, Matt. Well done.
I won't play any more than that before we get told off.
And, yeah. I know exactly. And they used that again at the beginning of this film, and it honestly, the hairs on when that music cut in, oh, man, so good.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. It is that, isn't it? It's that note, isn't it? There you go. We'll have it one more time. Look, you just get that. Oh.
Yeah, exactly that.
Name that tune in one note. Yeah.
Also, it's worth noting as well that if for those of you who look on the world of YouTube every now and again, you'll know that Tom Cruise and James Corden, they had a video released of James Corden going up in a P-51 Mustang with Tom Cruise, and it's well worth a watch as well because it's very entertaining indeed. And that aircraft he flew is actually owned by him and is in the film itself as well.
Oh wow!
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's worth
Is there any commercial aviation in this film at
all? No.
Right. No, nobody gets on an A319 or something like that. Oh, Top Gun tomorrow afternoon. Can't wait. Jenny in Rome says.
But there is the obligatory beach volleyball scene.
Oh, good. Oh, I am
in
pleased.
this film.
Mazus is saying that Top Gun yesterday, fantastic. So that's obviously gone down well.
Yeah.
Loving this. Yes.
Put it this way: the cinema, it was sold out. There was
I'm
one
not surprised
seat
by that.
available on Wednesday when I went.
Yeah.
One seat.
Not at all surprised. Not at all surprised.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So.
Indeed, yes. We're going to. Sorry, John's gone very loud all of a sudden. So
we have a video from Armando, don't we?
We do indeed. Well, me and Armando. To be
you
fair.
and Armando.
Yeah,
What have you been doing with Armando this week, Mr. Smith?
Well, should we watch the video together and find out?
Yes, put it on.
Yeah. Okay.
This is the natural face, I'm afraid. Sorry. Oh, we're recording. Hi, Matt. Hi. You're right.
Look at us. We're in the same spot.
I know. This is very exciting.
This is not a green screen. It's not a special effect or anything.
No.
How have you been?
Yeah, good. Yeah, good. So I came up first thing this morning. So somebody's been here for a couple of days.
Matt picked me up from the airport. Is this a good time to talk about that experience?
Yeah, should we do that? Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about it a couple weeks now on the show. So I booked tickets on Play.
Yeah.
It was interesting. It was exactly what I think we all expected.
It was like the Ryanair of.
It was definitely the Ryanair of the transatlantic, and I think, I guess to use their name compared to Norwegian. Norwegian was a high-end low cost. This was an as expected low cost. So
and in fact, at this point, I'm going to pop up a photograph of the first. It was 2 legs, wasn't it?
It was 2 legs,
and the first,
which is all you can fit.
Yeah, well, I suppose, yeah, literally, barely. This is the thing. So I'm popping up a picture now of the first picture that Armando sent me, which was of the leg room, shall we say, on that first sector.
It was atrocious. So I don't know that we could have planned it any better for an experience because I showed up to Baltimore. So I booked a ticket on with just miles on good old American Airlines to Baltimore, and I believe Baltimore to Stansted was this company's inaugural transatlantic route. So they've been doing this since the beginning. But when I showed up, there was nobody there. There was no gate agents. There was no security. No nothing.
Am I at the right airport? What?
Yeah. Departure time was scheduled for 7 p.m. I don't think anybody showed up till 6:45 p.m. And it was a third party. It certainly wasn't Play employees, but
so like a sort of Swiss sport sort of thing. Where,
yeah.
I
I think it was Menzies, and So I mean, this is not the airline's fault whatsoever, but it was just packed, jam-packed, full airplane. I only had the personal item. That's all you guys, our chat room and our viewers and our listeners, you're propped up on my backpack, which is all I brought for the entire trip.
It's not much bigger than the actual iPhone that we're using to record this.
Right, right. It had to fit under the seat.
Yeah.
But I was all the way in the back of the airplane, like Matt showed in the picture there. That it's I'm 5'9" and my knees were up against. So no IFE. No outlets. The second airplane did have outlets.
Oh, did it?
It did underneath, a little bit hidden, but no amenities whatsoever. And kind of the Ryanair model, 10 euros for a water and a bag of crisps. And,
wow.
But you know that. So I also had some Starbucks with me from the airport, and they had no issue with me bringing my own food up, obviously. So I kind of was prepared for the flight.
So what was the actual aircraft?
A321.
Okay. And was that on both sectors?
And then the A320 to Stansted. Now, this all being said, so we left an hour late and got to Reykjavik, or Keflavik, and complete non-issue. I got out of the airplane, I thought, oh man, I'm going to miss my flight. Matt's going to be waiting at Stansted, the whole deal. turned out that was actually the same airplane that I was continuing on to Stansted. And the connection, for anybody that's been through Keflavik, the connection there is so easy.
Is it?
Yeah, because there's no passport control, there's no border control.
It's a transfer, isn't it, rather than a fresh flight?
Exactly. Like. So you literally just get out of the airplane, look for your gate, and there's only about 6 gates, and you just get on to your next airplane. Now the second flight, I had an exit row, I had the whole row to myself, lots of leg room, incredibly comfortable flight, uneventful. So I guess, well, Matt's about to take me back to Stansted, so this is half the journey. But what I'll recommend to anybody that's listening or planning to use Play or any of these airlines is, so you can book priority boarding if you pay for a carry-on.
Right.
Right. So carry-on.
And what was
bag,
that price
was?
$46
US, so about 30-something pounds.
Okay.
But that does get you priority boarding, and then just spend the extra money for an exit row. If you sit in the exit row, it makes a huge difference, and it's actually enjoyable.
I mean, genuinely, I mean, like, as I say, the photo that we were talking about earlier, and I was just thinking, like, I literally wouldn't have been able to get my knees behind
I don't think
the seat. That's got nothing to do with my size or anything like that. It's just literally the length of my legs. Yeah. It's just like, I mean, that's the only bit that worries me about some of these, like, these low-cost models and stuff.
Valid worry, valid concern, sir.
Yeah.
I did call. Actually, that's another thing. There's no call. You cannot call them. There's no number to call for customer service. You either have to reach out to them through Facebook, through direct message on Instagram, or through their email address, or WhatsApp. So I decided to WhatsApp them and request exit row seats for the entire flight back. Both segments on the way back to Baltimore. So. Which is probably why I can't check in on them.
And how was what was the response time like? I mean, did you get anything back from them? And
almost immediate.
Really?
Almost immediate on WhatsApp. So customer service was on point.
Okay.
And you just text the number, you text them your reservation number, and they get right back to you.
So you couldn't ring them, but it didn't really matter in some respects because it's like sort of live chat, I suppose. That's sort of,
that's pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
So stay tuned for the second half. I'm all happy and chipper now.
We just had breakfast. All is well.
Yeah, we had coffee. We're here. It's a beautiful day in Cambridge.
Yep.
We couldn't ask for a prettier day.
Yeah.
So just here's fingers crossed for a nice trip back home.
And are we allowed to talk about why you were here, or is that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you were here for an event. So it's literally a whistle-stop tour. That's why it sort of all happened in a couple of days.
I like that. Yeah. No, one of my best friends was also retiring from the U.S. Air Force. He's been stationed here at Mildenhall, RAF Mildenhall, for 3 years. He actually replaced me, and very unique opportunity to have his retirement ceremony at Cambridge University.
Oh wow!
At which he was a student. So he just graduated from Cambridge while studying, while being active duty in the Air Force and Special Operations. So this was his retirement, where people flew in from all over the world, family, friends. Very unique. I mean, our listeners know how I feel about the UK and my love for the UK and living over here. And he was no different. He had a lot of his British friends and his cohort from school. So it was a great opportunity for us as American Airmen to highlight some of our traditions, our history, and really highlight his career to his friends and family, culmination of 20 years of service. It was really interesting. I spoke with a RAF retired group captain, and he said that really the British forces don't have this kind of retirement ceremony. Yeah.
Okay. Which for me kind of surprised me, because obviously one of the things that we are well known for, and I think you'll agree with this, is like memorial, or like remembering, if you see what I mean. So it sort of surprises me a bit that like retirement isn't celebrated in a greater way perhaps here.
Yeah, you and me both. I was really surprised, and even he got emotional during the ceremony as we were talking about the families and some of the accomplishments. But yeah, that also surprised me, because I've always thought that in the UK you're great at remembering and pomp and circumstance and ceremonies. You know how to do uniforms with frills and things like that. But sounds like an Airbus.
Was it?
Yeah. Well, that's a Dornier 328. Jet.
Such a geek.
Dodo jet. Dodo jet. Anyways, so it was a great ceremony, and that's what I was here, and literally flew in Wednesday. Matt picked me up. It's Friday, sorry, I won't be on the show today. Also,
a reasonable excuse, yes.
Yeah, and also apologies to Jonathan Warner because we're not going to have a military segment today. Yeah, it was just kind of a slow week, and obviously, you know, our thoughts are always with the folks in Ukraine and the conflict going on there. But we also don't want to just continuously talk about, you know, aircraft getting shut down and what's going on over there. Not that it's not important, but you know.
To be fair, Jonathan's got problems with his laptop at the moment and like weird colours and stuff on his screen, so he's got other things to worry about. He's probably not even watching. To be fair, this week he's too busy trying to sort that out. But,
I'm sure he's down at the local pub with us on YouTube right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everybody's complaining because there's some football match they're not watching.
Oh.
Anyways, so apologies that we're not doing a military segment today, but it's just always awesome to see each other. And it doesn't happen very often, but it's happened twice in this spring.
In as many days, absolutely, which is great. But so we're now back off to Stansted to get you home, as it were, and I think that's a good place to say a very good evening, good night, good day, whatever time of day it is that you're watching this, and say goodbye, Armando.
Bye, Armando. No, just kidding. Bye, everybody. See you next week.
There we go. Yeah. So as I say, I was very lucky. I got to catch up with Armando first thing this morning. So apologies if I nod off in the middle of the show. I was in Cambridge at 7:30 this morning, so I'm quite tired, to be fair.
It's nice to see Armando. He's nearly getting as bad as Dr. Steph with little flights here and there and everywhere at the drop of a hat kind of thing.
Oh, now Nev's raised a good point in the chat room. He said, I'm waiting to hear how the good caviar and Bollinger were. Now, I have to say that on the actual aircraft, I think the options were, I think the word we're looking for is limited, I think is the word we're looking for. However, Nev, while he was in the airport, this was in Reykjavik, there was a very nice little munch that was thrown out there, which I think is that a little bit of smoked salmon on a nice sort of like rocket
leaf
bed and all that kind of thing. I think that looks quite decent. Is it? Oh, right.
I'm seeing cardboard cutlery as well. I thought we'd gone past that.
Yeah, it's actually, you say that. My cutlery was cardboard today when I had something to eat at the services on my way home. So
Lee Davies in the chat room says it looks like seaweed.
Seaweed, right? Okay, fair enough. Anyway,
probably tastes better. Anyway, moving swiftly on, we're going to say hello to everyone who has joined us in the YouTube chat room this evening. We're going to say, let's see, who's in there this week? We've got Lee Davies. Lee Davies has been in there about 3 hours. He was in there quite early tonight. So hello to you, Lee. Richard Adams, Mazus Kareem, hello to you, Mazus. Hope you are having a good night as well. GB's Model Zone, hello to you. Jenny over in Rome. Dirk S is also in, having a big debate on the height of each other and whether they'd fit in those seats on play.com. The airline. Who else have we got? We've got Main Man Micah, also wielding a blue spanner of doom to get rid of all those bots that'll probably be in later on after the pubs kick out.
Yes.
And who else we got? Scrolling down to make sure I don't miss anyone. And Plain Talking UK podcast is also in there, which is quite interesting. He must be busy. So don't forget, if you are listening to us as an audio podcast and you want to join us in the YouTube world and see all the joy that is the audio or visual stuff that Matt pops up on the screen, don't forget to go over to YouTube and look for us, Plain Talking UK. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon right next door to be notified when we are live and recording the show as we are right now, because we'd love to have you in the chat room with all our other family members. So we've got lots of news to get through tonight on the show, and we're going to start off with some commercial news. So if all the team are ready,
certainly are.
Yes.
Let's go.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
just for a change this week, Nev, you've got some breaking aviation.
Yeah. How about this? In the last hour, we've been informed by the independent.co.uk about the Dutch airline KLM, which has paused its ticket sales for flights from Amsterdam Schiphol Airport between now and Monday due to the airport's ongoing crowding issues caused by staff shortages. KLM is putting a brake on ticket sales for flights leaving up until and including Sunday because Schiphol can't get its security problems fixed, said an Air France KLM spokesman, Jerry Brand. The cap on new flight sales from Friday to Sunday is to enable airline staff to accommodate the passengers who have missed flights in recent days on alternative departures. The restrictions, however, do not apply to premium bookings, the airline staff said. Queues at Amsterdam's air travel hub, the second largest in the European Union, have stretched for hours in recent weeks, with airport management blaming severe staff shortages for the problems. On Monday alone, more than 500 flights were delayed from Schiphol, whilst over 50 were cancelled. Some customers on social media reported waiting 6 hours to clear security on Tuesday. The city's international airport is KLM's main hub, and the airline has the largest presence there. Trade unions representing workers at Schiphol are now threatening strike action on the 1st of June, saying something has to change before staff's health and safety is affected by the stressful situation. The airport's management company, Royal Schiphol Group NV, has said separately that it has an action plan to recruit more staff and optimise passenger flow in order to reduce queue times. KLM has said that we know that travelling via Schiphol can be challenging right now. Please know that we're working hard on a solution. Thank you for your trust, patience and cooperation. Oh dear. Yes. I kind of thought this might happen because the throughput of people going through the airport was just horrific. In fact, a colleague of mine is going to be flying through Schiphol on Monday to meet me in Edinburgh. So we'll see if he gets there on time or not. That could be interesting, couldn't it? Yeah, the fact that they're having to stop ticket sales, unless you're paying the full whack for your ticket price, is quite extreme, isn't it? Just for them to catch up on the backlog. Horrific.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on around Europe and especially the UK at the minute with airports and everywhere. There's scenes of chaos and passengers queuing and fights and oh dear, it's the whole aviation
it's become
industry,
a sport as part of the Olympic Games, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
No, I think it's the holes in the Swiss cheese lining up again, isn't it? Coming out of COVID, all the layoffs that have gone on, crew not being able to come back to work because of illness, all kinds of things, and Joe Public wanting to go flying again. And as we've said so many times in many episodes previously, the airline business is not a switch you can just turn on and off. Well, we turned it off fairly quickly, but you then can't turn it back on and expect it all to just happen. This is going to be going on for a little while, I think.
I was thinking, actually, genuinely though, you sort of think those, that handful of people who are still there, who didn't, who are lucky enough not to get laid off, etc., they must be exhausted.
Their workload must be. I
can say, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Their workload must be through the roof at the moment. It's a tiring time for them. I think they'll be glad when there's a few more people kicking around to sort of help spread the load, I think.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. So from one problem to another, Carl.
I know. It's all kicking off here. So this one comes to us from BBC.com, Guardian.com, and Digit.fyi. And Easyjet flights cancelled after software failure. Airline passengers faced fresh disruption on Thursday after an IT glitch forced Easyjet to cancel around 200 flights around Europe. The airline scrapped a stream of flights due to take off between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. on Thursday, affecting dozens and from Air UK airports, including its biggest base at Gatwick. The cause of the problem was not immediately known. An Easyjet spokesperson said the earlier IT systems issues were then rectified, and unfortunately they resulted in some cancellations earlier today. And while we expect to operate most of our remaining flying program, some may still be subject to disruption and in the coming hours, they said. They also said we advise customers due to travel with us to continue to check flight tracker for their status of their flight before making their way off to the airport. They also apologise for any inconvenience caused. Commenting on the news, Ross Gray, CEO of CloudSoft, an IT management consultancy group, said the outage shows us that no company's IT infrastructure is too advanced to fail, even one that supports flights for millions of people. Yesterday's downtime for Easyjet serves as a reminder as to why the EU is developing new regulations around digital operational resilience, commonly known as DORA, and why the UK is taking similar steps too. DORA, Digital Operational Resilience Act, is a new EU act aimed to strengthen ICT management resilience. It's primarily aimed at the financial sector. However, there are talks of it applying to other sectors where IT infrastructure is critical. A document accompanying the Queen's speech in the UK Parliament hints at a UK version of DORA being pursued. So there we go. So, Nev, you had someone you knew was affected by this issue. My
boss was just about to depart on a Luton to Edinburgh sector yesterday, and that they had actually boarded the aircraft, and they all got kicked off the plane because the systems were down. So he then took a taxi round to Heathrow and boarded a BA flight to Edinburgh instead, rather than waiting it out to see how long it was going to be, and probably just as well he did. The irony, of course, is that he chose BA when another provider's IT system was down, and of course we all know that BA have had their woes previously as well. Yeah, it's all happening, isn't it? And of course it always happens at the worst possible time when people are getting back to flying, and there's half term and there's holidays going on and this sort of business. So
perhaps they should bring back the Spectrum or the VIC-20 now.
Yes, that's an option, certainly. But I think I don't think it matters how much.
John's thing. You can see John's face is like thinking, "What the hell is a VIC-20?
Yes.
What's a Spectrum?" Oh dear. So actually, on that note, John's just said, "What can we do about these things, Nev?"
Well, the thing is that everything is interconnected. So when the Easyjet stuff went down yesterday, it was the app that was down, the website that was down, but we also found out that crew rostering was down as well. So it's actually the internal systems. So presumably they had problems getting load sheets for the aircraft, and all the scheduling and all the stuff that you need to go with the logistics of an operation like this. When it goes wrong, that's the problem. I mean, it doesn't go wrong very often, but when it does go wrong, as BA have found as well, it goes wrong spectacularly because everything is interconnected. That's the problem, isn't it?
It's the internal system.
I've not been able to answer John's question of what can be done about it, though, I'm afraid.
It's the internal system going down that bothers me the most. That's a surprise. You quite often get like the external systems, if you like, the web interfaces and all that kind of thing, sort of those databases going down. But to lose things like crew rostering and that kind of thing, because you sort of assume that they're separate systems almost.
Yeah, and of course the thing is that with you just because of the schedules and the way they work as well, it doesn't take much for crew to suddenly go out of hours because they can't hang around to operate the sector, or you've got crew illness perhaps and that kind of thing. But then you have this on top of it, and it's just horrific. And it always tends to happen at the worst possible time, unfortunately. But
of course,
they're back up and running now, but they did cancel a lot of flights today, in a tactical sense, I think, just to get ahead of the game, probably in the same way that KLM have paused some new ticket sales that were due to go between Monday and Sunday, just to try and get rid of the backlog and get crew and aircraft back into the right places again.
Yeah. It's and of course that's the problem with any low cost airline. It is it's that delay, as you say, everything's in the wrong place.
Well, it's not just low-cost airlines, of course. It's anything, really. And the easiest thing is to probably cancel some of the short-haul stuff ahead of time if you can, so that you can get the resilience back a bit later on. Obviously, when you've got aircraft in the air on very long-haul sectors, that's more difficult to do. But if you can cancel stuff before they go out, then that is better. But then, of course, you end up with disgruntled passengers and passengers in the wrong place as well. So, yeah, very difficult.
Absolutely.
So, Matt, moving on to the next story and looking at the headlines, do we need to go back to carrier pigeons and paper and pens?
Yeah, probably. Probably that's I think going to be the overall outcome on this one. We're sticking with the low cost carrier. It's the Indian low cost carrier SpiceJet this time round, and they experienced disruption due to a ransomware attack. Now, ransomware incident. Loads of sources on this. One being bleepingcomputer.com, dark reading, Security Week, and then details from Trend Micro on this. So basically, ransomware, if you're not aware, these incidents are on the rise, and this week proved no exception with the discovery of a Linux-based ransomware family called Cheers Script, targeting VMware ESXi servers and an attack on SpiceJet, India's second largest airline. The Cheers Script ransomware variant was uncovered by Trent Micro and relies on the double extortion scheme to coerce victims to pay the ransom, i.e. stealing data as well as threatening to leak it if the victims don't pay up. SpiceJet passengers reported delays, including some who told stories of waiting up to 5 hours on the aircraft. Flights to airports with night restrictions were cancelled as booking systems, customer service, phone lines, and certain parts of the SpiceJet website were also affected. Certain SpiceJet systems faced an attempted ransomware attack last night that impacted our flight operations, the airline said on Wednesday via Twitter. The company said, also added that it had to a large extent contained and rectified the situation, but ongoing delays had forced some flights to airports with night curfews to be cancelled. An airline official on Thursday told the AFP that flight operations were back to normal. Somebody didn't have their software up to date, I think.
There's a theme running through tonight's show.
There is, isn't there? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see if we can continue the trend with the next one, shall we?
I think my suggestion of the VIC 20 in Spectrum is
not a bad shout.
Well,
absolutely,
it's not wide of the mark, is it?
No, absolutely. Yeah.
So, Nev, we're moving away, and we're going to have some good news.
We are, yes. It's on flightglobal.com and avgeekery.com. It says that Bombardier has given a supersonic start to the launch of its long-promised 8,000 nautical mile range Global 8000 aircraft, flying a test machine beyond the speed of sound as part of its certification campaign. In addition to the huge range, the new jet will have a maximum speed of Mach 0.94 and be capable of carrying 19 passengers. The service entry is scheduled for 2025. The new Global 8000 has developed considerably since the jet was first envisaged. Originally, the 8000 was set to be a shrink of its sister, the Global 7000, and was set to fly 500 nautical miles further as a result. However, the Global 7000 progressed to become the Global 7500 with a 7,700 nautical mile range. The trade-off between the two passenger seats and just 200 nautical miles meant that the Global 8000 needed a new design. Rather than developing an all-new Bombardier, they have instead souped up the performance of the Global 7500 to create an aircraft that can fly 8,000 nautical miles and up to 1.3% faster than the current Mach 0.925 maximum. The new Global is two aircraft in one, says Chief Executive Eric Martel, providing everything that the Global 7500 has to offer, but with a level of performance that has never been seen before in business aviation. Bombardier has already begun validating the modifications required using its FTV-5 flying testbed operating from a site in the USA. And on the 18th of May, accompanied by a NASA-operated Boeing F-18 fighter, the aircraft was taken past the sound barrier to Mach 1.015, becoming the fastest civil aircraft since Concorde and taking a crucial step towards certificating the new standard. Service entry for the Global 8000 is anticipated in 2025, said Bombardier. And at that point, two things happen. Thanks to a service bulletin, all Global 7500 owners will be able to convert their jets into the Global 8000, and production of the earlier model is phased out in favour of the longer range aircraft. This price also rises from $75 million to $78 million. The speed and cabin size will be more than those of the G800. We have taken a no compromise mentality as to how we want to position this aircraft at the top of the pyramid, says Bombardier. So how about that? Never thought we'd ever hear about an aircraft going beyond the speed of sound. I mean, that's not its certificated speed, obviously, but no, it's at 0.94. That's going some, isn't it?
Now, I'm the first one to admit that I don't know a lot about these things, but I immediately look at this picture. Again, take a look. I'll make sure the pictures are in the show notes, obviously, for those listening to the audio version. But that cockpit looks amazing.
Well, the thing is with business jets, especially the higher end ones, that they are very sophisticated machines indeed, and they are really well designed. And again, of course, although they're small, in this case, of course, they're going for very long distances, so the crew need to be comfortable in there. But the technology used in biz jets is phenomenal. It really is.
Did you that picture you put of the cabin up on there, Matt? I'm not going to lie. It looks like someone spilt something in the cabin. It's
yeah.
Am I just?
Yeah. Does look, it does,
I
apologise if I
feature.
offend. I apologise if I offend, but it looks like there's been a massive skid mark run right through the middle of it. Do you know?
Well, it's almost like, I mean, it's a lavatory at the back there.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. You know. Yeah. I know.
Let's hope that was just the coffee.
As a design feature, that's pretty.
It's an odd one, isn't it?
Naff.
Yeah, that is an odd one.
I love Lee Davies. It's Lee Davies' comment in the chat room. Lee is saying a dead body's been dragged through there.
Well, there we go.
Honestly,
that's exciting stuff.
They should really think before they put these pictures on these profiling their aircraft when they do these.
I'm sure somewhere it looked really fancy. Mayman Micah is saying,
it's just a weird feature to have on a carpet.
Yeah, Mayman Micah is saying, is that really a cocktail or is it Carlos's flight simulator?
Yeah, it's probably that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, what are we thinking about this? Because I mean, I'm personally feeling quite excited that, and I know we've said several times before, isn't it? I mean, the Concorde being taken out of service before there was a sort of speed of sound equivalent, I still find a really odd decision.
Well, there's a whole load of reasons behind why it was taken out of service, and mainly it's to do with the cost of spares and parts for it. It also, of course, came at a time when 9/11 was happening, just as the aircraft was coming back into service after the accident in Paris. Then there was all sorts of other, global events going on financially, and in fact, the French Concords were going across the Atlantic with pitiful, load factors as well. So there's many things that led to, I believe, the premature grounding of Concorde back in 2003. But of course, the thing is, it's a big leap to go from just under Mach 1 to just over Mach 2. That requires a lot of technology to do that, of course.
But I mean, do you think presumably that is it the business sector that would be interested enough in this sort of like supersonic travel speed, if you
Yeah.
like. I mean, it's if
If
you're
you
going to
think
pay
of
for
that,
if you're going to pay for a
most
jet,
people that flew on Concorde were the celebrities, the film stars, the people that could afford it, and I think that's a world apart from the average
yeah.
passenger. Although, of course, towards the end of Concorde's life, those tickets were offered up on an auction basis to people that wanted to buy them. So your average person could actually experience a Concorde flight. But of course, it's more likely now that if you are in the wealthier sector, you're going to want to get on a smaller aircraft and try and get to the US in, I don't know, 5 hours rather than 7 or 8, for example. But of course, Concorde was doing it in a little over 3 at one point. It's a big difference. And of course, engine technology is improving, and all the rest of it. So there's a lot to it. There's a big gap between just under Mach 1 and Mach 2, as I said, in terms of what's required from the aircraft and all the systems on board. So yeah.
It's going to be all about the money. It's going to be all about the money again, isn't it, basically?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. For the very rich people.
Yes,
Anyway.
indeed.
Yeah.
As I
We
say,
need to keep playing that Euro Millions.
yeah, true that.
Oh, dear. Anyway, next story. This one comes to us from bbc.com and assets.publishing.service.gov.uk. My word, that's a mega website. And this is all about a certain aircraft that has been written off after it had a hard landing at Exeter Airport. So a cargo plane has been written off due to extensive damage after a hard landing at Exeter Airport, a report has said. The Boeing 737-4Q8 was returning from East Midlands Airport with a pilot and co-pilot who were not injured at the time. The plane was beyond economical repair, a report by the Air Accidents Investigation Branch said. West Atlantic, the plane's Swedish-based operator, said only the flight commander will be allowed to land at Exeter Airport until further notice. The AIIB confirmed the aircraft had been written off as it was deemed beyond repair and would no longer be in use after it landed. The aircraft had a hard landing as a result of the aircraft's approach to the runway continuing after it became unstable, the report had said. The commander may have given the co-pilot the benefit of the doubt and believed she had the ability to correct an approach that became unstable in the final few hundred feet of the approach, it said. The co-pilot said she did not know what caused the hard landing, but did not believe there was a technical issue. After the aircraft left the runway, it was listing to the left, the report also said. It was then that the crew realised there was something seriously wrong with the aircraft. It explained the damage may have been lessened if the crew had ended the attempt at landing and tried again for a second time, or a go-around, as we all know. The main body of the wings was cracked and buckled, and the top end appeared creased and rippled, the report had said. The runway was undamaged after the incident on 2:37 a.m. GMT on the 19th of January back in 2021. So interesting things from the report that John's found us here in this one. So the co-pilot actually had more total hours but less hours on the Boeing 737. The commander had a total of 15,218 flying hours, of which 9,000 of these were on the Boeing 737. The co-pilot had a total of 19,350 flying hours, which 5,637 were on the Boeing 737. So go-around pressure from a fuel perspective, with 6,600 kilograms of fuel on board at the time of the accident and 3,118 kilograms required to go back to EMA, or East Midlands Airport. There was enough fuel to fly a further 3 approaches before a decision to divert to East Midlands was needed to be taken. There was thus no fuel or time pressure to land off the first approach. So meteorological information, say that after a beer or 3. The METARs issued at 0:20 or 02:20 in the morning hours stated that the surface winds were 230 degrees at 10 knots, with a visibility of 9 kilometers and light rain with scattered clouds at 1,200 feet above or AAL. Broken clouds at 4,000 feet and temperatures of 12 degrees Celsius dew point and 10 degrees Celsius with a QNH of 1009. And the operator's comments, here we go. The operator stated that during the pilot's recent recurrent training prior to the event, they had conducted, I should say, rejected landings, GA, from different altitudes and configurations, but not from touchdown. But this practice will continue. While OMB did not have specific guidance as to what to do in the event of an approach becoming unstable on ILS below 500 feet, they believed that the expectation was that if an approach went unstable after 500 feet, it would lead to a GA being initiated or go around. The operator has now included stabilized approach criteria as a feature in their pilot's ground-based recurrent training. Now, safe to say, looking at those pictures that Matt popped up on the screen there, it's no surprise this aircraft was written off, especially being the aircraft the age it is, because that was a Dash 400, Nev? Yeah, Dash 400.
Yeah.
So a fairly old aircraft.
What is surprising to me is that the final comment, which says the operator has now included stabilized approach criteria as a feature in their pilot's ground-based recurrent training. Isn't that in everybody's training? Isn't that what it's all about? Being stable at whether it's 500 feet or 1,000 or whatever is specified. And if it's not stable, if that criteria is not met, then you're going around. I don't know what's difficult about this. So there's something that's fallen through the cracks there a little bit, I think, definitely. And I know we can all be armchair pilots experts at the end of the day, and they did have plenty of fuel to conduct a couple of approaches. It's a bit of a shame, to say the least. I mean, fortunately, no one was hurt, that's the end of that aircraft. But as somebody said in the chat room, I think it was Richard, it's more parts for you to buy, Carl. That's the main thing.
That is very true, and I look forward to having some of those parts somewhere in this room behind
very
me
soon. Yes, absolutely.
But this particular aircraft first flew in 1994. Nev had a few owners from new, Alaska Airlines being one, Aeroflot Don being the other, Donavia, Atlantic Airlines, and then West Atlantic UK. Obviously, being the last owner of that aircraft. But yeah, 1994 first registered that one. There we go. So moving on to the
where's
next
Miami
story.
Rick and his extreme ironing when you need him? That's what
So Matt, you've got the next story, and I'm just going to have one of these, Matt, while you're reading this story.
Right, very good. Yes, very good. Okay. So this has come from 1 Mile at a Time, The Sun, legislation.gov.uk, loads of different various sources there. So the headline is, Lauda crew member arrested and sacked after he was filmed downing alcohol on flight. This incident, first reported by The Sun, involves a flight on Wednesday, May the 18th, 2022, from Rzeszów in Poland to London, United Kingdom. The flight was operated by a Lauda Europe Airbus A320, with Lauda Europe being an Austrian-based wholly owned subsidiary of Ryanair. According to reports, a passenger went to the rear of the galley to order an alcoholic drink. The flight attendant then said, "Shush, don't tell anyone, but I will have one too." At that point, the flight attendant downed a miniature of whiskey plus a bottle of rosé. The passenger recorded this on camera and noted that the flight attendant sounded drunk and looked like he had been drinking before that as well. While being filmed, the flight attendant both flicks off the camera, seemingly jokingly, and also says, "Don't make it obvious," clearly trying to hide his drinking from other staff. The passenger then asked to speak to the captain, and at that point the flight attendant was allegedly furious. Upon landing in London, video footage of the incident was shared with police and the entire crew was breathalyzed. It's believed that the flight attendant had a blood alcohol level of 50 micrograms per 100 millilitres of breath. The legal requirement for driving a car in the UK is 35 milligrams micrograms, sorry, and is 20 micrograms for aircrew and air traffic controllers. The flight attendant in question was arrested at Stansted and charged with performing an aviation function whilst impaired because of alcohol. He is said to appear before Chelmsford Magistrates Court on the 8th of June. The airline added that Lauda Europe has investigated a report individual cabin crew breach of their strict policy. The cabin crew member in question no longer operates for Lauda Europe. And just FYI, the company policy for Ryanair Group is that alcohol must not be taken 8 hours prior to commencement of duty or commencement of standby time, and disciplinary action will be taken against any crew member who consumes alcohol within 8 hours of report time, standby time duties, also consumes alcohol during duty time, also if they are found to have been taking illicit drugs as well. So I think it's safe to say a very naughty boy, which is
yes,
yeah, indeed. Yeah. Now I did pop up a picture of the incident in question, and there is there's not really a lot more we can say to that, is there, chaps? I don't think.
Well,
Wouldn't happen with
I mean,
Nev.
obviously, I'm not condoning for 1 second what has been alleged here, because he's not been convicted yet, because he's in court on the 8th of June. So we've got to be careful about what we say there. But obviously, it's very unfortunate for him that he got caught as well. And I'm absolutely not for 1 minute saying that this is commonplace, because I don't believe it is. But it just goes to show you again, doesn't it, how careful you have to be when there are cameras around. And he shouldn't have been doing it anyway, so please don't get the wrong impression. I'm not saying that he could have got away with it, because that's wrong as well. But at the end of the day, if you are in charge of safety on an aircraft, which you are very much a part of that safety team, then you should not be doing that.
Absolutely,
one thing
indeed.
for sure.
And I suppose I think the point you're trying to make, Nev, there is that essentially you have to bear in mind that you're being watched at all times. You know, there could be a camera being pointed at you 24/7 for all you know, if you see what I mean. It's like, it's one of those, isn't it? Like, and I say, not condoning by any stretch, but you just sort of think, I just think it's a very, very odd decision, especially when he knew that the person had a phone in their hand. I just can't get my head around it. And John's just said in our ears, actually, that apparently the maximum punishment for this is 2 years in jail. Plus a big fine. I mean, is that enough though? I don't know, because not if you get caught driving a car over the limit.
Well, that's a minimum of 12 months ban, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah,
often more.
Yeah,
you know, so,
that's true. Yeah, and a big fine.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
So, Nev, we've talked about a 737 previous, and we're going to talk about another one.
Yes, it's just like it's like a big roundabout with this series of aircraft, isn't it? It's on flightglobal.com, and it says that Boeing's head of safety has warned of potential negative safety consequences if the company were to equip its 737 MAX 10 with a modernised crew alerting system, which is technology expected to be required before the jet achieves certification. I have personally no belief that there's any value in changing the 737, says Boeing's Chief Aerospace Safety Officer Michael Delaney on the 23rd of May. His comment came in response to a question about the pending regulation that will prohibit the FAA from certificating an aircraft that lacks a flight crew alerting system. Such modern systems, which include engine indicating and crew alerting systems, ICAS, are intended to help pilots better diagnose and respond to cockpit errors. Essentially, all modern airlines except 737s have such technology. The regulation, which is required by a late 2020 law, is to take effect in December. Boeing has said it intends to deliver the first MAX 10 in 2023, suggesting it will not achieve the MAX's clearance before the deadline. How will Boeing address the issue remains unclear. Chief Executive David Calhoun has said that Boeing could potentially secure an exemption, letting the MAX be certificated as it is. Delaney says that the historic safety record of the 737 family proves that the effectiveness of the existing alerting system. The system is largely unchanged from Boeing's initial 737 design decades ago, experts say. Experts also say that equipping the MAX 10 with modern alert technology would be costly and time-consuming, creating concerning cockpit differences between MAX variants and spur new training requirements. That lack of cockpit commonality can introduce risk, says Boeing Vice President of Operational and Safety and Strategy Al Maydar. You have to be very careful, he says. Boeing has also not yet achieved certification for its 737 MAX 7, the smallest version of the MAX family, but aims to do so this year. The FAA has already certificated the MAX 8 and the MAX 9. Here we go again. It's trying to get common type ratings, isn't it, across all the the range of the family of aircraft. And now we're having a safety discussion before the aircraft get certified. I find that incredible. But you are dealing with quite an old design of aircraft. Obviously, there's modern avionics and all the rest of it on there, but there's some things which have not changed at all. So,
how long's the 737 body itself been in service? I mean,
I'm thinking late 60s.
Late 60s, yeah.
Really, gosh.
Something like that. Yeah.
I think this MAX 10 will be, when it finally gets sorted and everything gets put in place, the MAX 10 will be a popular aircraft for a lot of airlines because it fits into that 757 sort of slot. Don't you think, Nev?
Yes.
Passenger stuff.
Yeah.
1967, we're being told, was the first flight.
Oh, wait, that wasn't far off, was it?
Not bad. Not bad going, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that it's obviously it's been a very popular aircraft, but it's been very reliable over many, many years. Obviously, it has had its issues as well in the later variants, but. Well, the FAA have to get this one right, don't they? No two ways about it. And also any other jurisdiction around the world, whether it's EASA or whoever was doing it. So, yeah.
So, moving on to the next story. And for those of you who are fans of Lego, like me, love my Lego. This comes to us from simpleflying.com. And Iceland Air celebrates 10 years of Billund flights with a Lego Boeing 737 MAX. So in 2021, Iceland Air celebrated its 10-year anniversary of flights from Reykjavik's Keflavik Airport to Billund Airport in Denmark. You'd be forgiven for not recognizing the Danish town with a population of just over 6,600 people right away. However, if we tell you that it's the birthplace of Lego and home to the major tourist attraction theme park Legoland, it might just ring a bell or two. So in honor of the 10 years of connecting Icelandic travelers to the toy constructions of their dreams, Iceland Air decided, well, honestly, it's the best decision they could have ever made, decided to enlist the help of some proper Lego experts. Over 630 building hours, Brynjar Karl and Mikael Porbul built a 2-meter long, 40-kilogram heavy replica of a Boeing 737 MAX jet. It has a wingspan of 184 centimeters and consists of 25,000 Lego bricks. God, what a dream. That's some way from the Lego Millennium Falcon, which is made up of 7,500 bricks. The airline said it's a huge task which took the builders nearly a year to complete and required both tenacity and 25,000 multi-hued bricks. The result is a detailed jet in our livery, a stunning engineering achievement that represents the creativity of our dedication to the spirit of Iceland and, above all, patience. So when completed, the model aircraft was painted in Iceland Air's new livery, predominantly white with a brightly coloured tail, following much of the same procedures for a regular jet. The toy plane was given the magenta version of the airline's new coloured stripe on the tail, representing the creative power of Iceland, a highly fitting choice considering the task. The other colours soon to be visible on Iceland's aircraft in the new livery are Boreal Blue for the Northern Lights, Sky Blue for Iceland's summer skies, and yellow for sun gleaming off waterfalls, and green for the emergence of life after even the most challenging events. The Model 737 MAX will now go on its maiden voyage and land at the Frederiksberg Center, a shopping centre in Copenhagen, for the summer of 2022. So the pictures that map up on the screen now will say the nose section of that aircraft looks,
the front of the aircraft doesn't look great, does it?
Slightly
broken.
Non-aerodynamic.
Yes, indeed, yes. Literally the aerodynamic properties of a house brick, essentially.
It's a blooming good idea. I love it. It is
yeah.
such a good idea, and I wouldn't say no to having it, here. I know some people who would say no to me having it here at the house.
Yes.
I would,
is it the same person that say no to having windows and goodness knows what else, by any chance? Just out.
Oh dear,
Yeah.
yes, I know. But honestly, it's one of those things, because I still have Lego. Sorry, I do admit to that. I do still have Lego. One of the first things that I always used to build as a child was a plane.
Wow. Do you have any Lego, Nev?
Not anymore. No, I don't, unfortunately. But
were you a Meccano man, Nev?
I was actually, yes.
Okay.
At the time, yes, definitely. But I have actually just sent a picture in.
Yeah, I'm trying. You talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Yeah.
So I think I've gone one better than this. I've actually been on one of the Lego jets, which was a Citation 560 XL, and I flew from Farnborough to Billund in it, which was very nice. This is going back to about 2004, something like that. I think I can't remember what year it was, but that was very nice. That's about an 8 or 9 seater, I think, if I remember correctly, with a bar on board as well, with some
blimey, Nev.
beers in the fridge and some snacks. Very pleasing indeed. So no, it was a very, very nice flight actually, and of course the performance of these business jets is just phenomenal. So yeah, I had a great time on that. Had to get a regular flight back. They couldn't get me back on it, unfortunately, but and there's a nice picture of it as well. I think the exact aircraft that I was on. So yeah, very nice, very pleasant.
A few comments in the chat room, from one from Tony S. actually amused me. Tony S. says Lego is awesome except when you stand on it.
True that.
Very
true.
Very true. What else we got? We've got Alex Robinson says somehow still more aerodynamic than the space shuttle. Yeah,
okay, right.
And Lee Davies apparently has bags of Lego.
Love it,
Lee. Let's put our Lego together and build something.
Lego's quite therapeutic, isn't it? There's no question about it. If you've got a bag of it and you just you just want to occupy yourself for what you think is going to be 15-20 minutes, and an hour and a half later you're still constructing and doing things with it. But no, it's phenomenal. I like it very much. Yeah.
Guess what I've got in the spare room, Matt?
I don't know. A Millennium Falcon? I don't know.
No, an airport.
An airport.
A Lego airport.
Tony S is saying there was a full-size Lego. Yes, there was. I think we went and had a look at it. Actually, I think. Yeah. So there was a full-size Lego Mclaren car at the Brooklands Museum, which was pretty cool. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely
Yes.
was. I think I've got a photo of that somewhere. Actually, thinking about it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think producer John, took a photo of it. We'll come back to that. We'll later. Let me do my story.
I'll tell you what. If manufacturers started building aircraft out of Lego, it would make things a lot easier for repair work and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. As I say, I mean, I would be a little bit concerned, as you said earlier, about the aerodynamic properties of that particular, that particular plane. I would be a little worried about that. But yeah, while John is busy trying to find that picture, as I say, because I'm pretty sure we've got a picture of what Tony was talking about. Then I'll move on to the next story briefly. It is on simpleflying.com. Oh, there. In fact, the picture is there, but I'll do that in a moment whilst you're talking amongst yourselves. Airbus commits to construction of new helicopter headquarters at London Oxford Airport. As I say, simpleflying.com is the website for this. On Friday, Airbus's chief executive, Guillaume Fiori, I think, apologies if I've got that wrong, confirmed the company's investment in a new Airbus helicopter headquarters. The aerospace manufacturer has chosen to put $50.5 million towards the new facility at London Oxford Airport. The new facilities will bring together all of the company's Oxford activities currently spread across the area into one single, modern and more environmentally efficient building. Airbus's new OXF project will cover a 14-acre site and will be completed in 2024 on the 50th anniversary of Airbus Helicopters operations in the UK. This is not the only way Airbus is strengthening its presence in the UK. The company has also announced that it has established the Zero Emission Development Centre, ZEDC, for hydrogen technologies in Filton in Bristol. The technologies development has already begun, and it will cover everything from components up to whole system and cryogenic testing in support of Airbus's mission to bring a hydrogen-powered commercial aircraft to the market by 2035. There you go.
Nice.
Anything to add to that? No?
As you can see, we're absolutely speechless.
Yeah, you're in awe of my read. That's what it is.
Yes.
It's the whole London-Oxford thing again.
I know.
Well,
it's been called that for a while, though, hasn't it?
London, everything.
It really has.
Norwich, London, Southend.
Yeah, well, London Southend is valid. I've heard it called that before.
Yeah, I mean, London Oxford is pushing it a little bit.
Do you think?
Quite a long way up the M40 and along the A40. Yeah.
True that. Okay, just going back to what we were talking about earlier. This is, as I say, John had taken a photograph of it. This is indeed the car that we're talking about there. There you go. Look at that. So this is the full size Lego Mclaren that Tony was talking about earlier on. How cool is that?
That's phenomenal, isn't it?
We weren't allowed to touch it, which is really frustrating because the desire to just sort of stroke the bumps was quite overwhelming. Yes, absolutely. Family show, ladies and gentlemen. Shall we move on? Indeed, Carlos.
So, Nev, you've got the next. Nev, you've got the next story, and just sort of a question really for the team. What kind of things have you ever, if you have ever, lost?
Headphones
on an aircraft.
I've lost headphones on an aircraft before now.
Yeah, small earbuds. I think nearly left my iPad there once, but managed to recover it. I've been pretty fortunate, actually. I've not had any sort of big losses on an aircraft so far.
John, what about you? Oh, really? Have you? He lost his mind apparently once on an aircraft.
I seem to remember he nearly. I was going to say. I seem to remember he lost a wallet with a lot of very important information in it. Not that long ago.
But Nev, this next story. What has someone managed to lose on an aircraft?
Well, this is extraordinary. It's on the Newsweek.com website. It says that viral TikTok video has shown how a woman lost her shoe during a flight between Rome and New York when the garment fell into the aircraft and could not be retrieved.
What?
With more than 1.8 million views, 21-year-old Alexis Di Bartolo from Long Island, New York, shared the video in March. In the video, she shows footage of the plane with the text overlay, "On a plane, and this thing near my feet opened up and my shoe fell down into it." Di Bartolo told Newsweek, "I was flying back home to the JFK International Airport with Delta Airlines. I casually sat down in my seat, which was a window seat, and my sister was sitting next to me. About an hour into the flight, I decided I wanted to take a nap and get comfortable in my seat, so I took off my shoes and placed them directly under the window, which happened to be right near the decompression panel. When she woke up again 15 minutes later, she went to reach for her shoe when it fell down the panel. I immediately tried reaching for it, and when I couldn't get it, I called the flight attendant. She couldn't reach it either, so she contacted maintenance, to board the plane as soon as we landed in New York to see if they could obtain it. When the plane landed, maintenance came on board and they could not reach the shoe either. When they couldn't retain the shoe from the cargo hold either, the airline gave the woman some slippers to wear in place of her shoes. Now, so a bit of technical info about how this came about. These decompression panels, which are known as dado panels, in normal conditions, they're partially open to allow air entering the cabin from the ceiling crown to exit into the cargo holds. In the case of a rapid decompression from a hole in the cargo holds, they fully open to accelerate pressure equalization between the two levels and prevent the cabin floor collapsing under the effects of the high pressure differential. Hope you're still with me. They are standard safety equipment since an NTSB recommendation after a DC-10 explosive decompression in 1972 due to a cargo door opening in flight where the cabin floor collapsed. And we all remember that incident, don't we?
Yeah.
That's a very well publicised thing. So, yes, as you can see, that's what the story was there. So the shoe will not be recovered by the sounds of things.
She was given a slipper by the. But how? I mean, if you're filling out an insurance claim for your Nike trainers or whatever brand of trainers you might be wearing, how is that going to sound? You know, oh, how did you lose your shoe or train? Oh well, just fell down the side of an aircraft. I couldn't get it out. You know.
Yes, difficult.
I'm surprised that
but,
they can't get this. Obviously, it's fell somewhere where they can't get to, even going through the hold of the aircraft to get there. But
does that mean somewhere there's a rogue shoe that's just going to remain there for the remaining life of this particular aircraft?
Well, also, presumably, this is not the first time it's happened either,
No,
I would imagine.
no,
so
indeed.
there may be a collection.
There might well be, absolutely. Yeah.
Footwear.
Different odd-sized shoes and all that kind of thing. Tony S is saying she was
USB
hopping mad, apparently. She was hopping mad, quoted the Daily Mail.
oh, Mazouz Kareem. Mazouz says Ryanair would have charged her for the extra leg.
Good point, well made. Yes, absolutely. And why not? That's what I say.
I like that. Well, hopefully she'll get her shoe back at some point. You never know in the near future.
Right.
Might be slightly damp and mouldy, but
Okay, move on, please.
So the next story comes to us from Aviation or aviationonline.com. And the headline, KLM Cargo, it's another KLM story. KLM Cargo starts the process to replace its Boeing 747-400Fs. Oh. So KLM's air cargo arm currently operates 4 747-400Fs, but that fleet configuration is likely to change soon. That's what the company revealed during an investor meeting on the 24th of May. Dutch website Scramble has reported. At the meeting, CEO Benjamin Smith said a decision would be made shortly and that the Airbus A350 and the Boeing 777F and the newly launched Boeing 777-8F would be in contention. In fact, the current fleet has been aging, with the 3 aircraft flying in KLM colours reaching an average age of 19 years, while one flying Martin Cargo colours is already 32 years old. The decision is expected to be made very soon.
Yes, you often see those at Schiphol Airport, certainly when I've been there. You often see the KLM freighters on the taxiways and unloading and loading up their cargo again. Yeah,
it wasn't a few not long ago that we all said on the show that that obviously the passenger version of the 747 is sort of nearly all but gone, and we said, didn't we, at the time that the cargo versions will be flying forever and ever and ever. But obviously, it's starting to get to that stage now where even some of the airlines are phasing out the 400 freighter version.
Yeah, I just wonder if that's due to fuel burn, improvements that the newer aircraft are offering as well, because it's all about running costs, isn't it? So interesting. So yeah.
So next story, Nev. This one's a nice story. I like this one.
It's one of those, and finally, nice stories, isn't it? Indigo pilot, this is on the ndtv.com. It says an Indigo pilot is drawing a lot of praise on social media for showering his wife with love and affection aboard his flight. Now, before you take this the wrong way, I must just explain that Captain Alnis Virani used the plane's public announcement system to say that he has the privilege of flying my wife to Mumbai. As Captain Virani spoke, his wife Zara recorded her excitement on a camera phone and later shared the video with a long post on Instagram thanking her.
Also, I'd like this opportunity to tell you a special announcement. Some days I do get a special flight, and today is one such flight where I have a special passenger with us on this flight, and I have the privilege of flying my wife to Mumbai. It's just a small thing for everybody, but means a lot to me. Just wish to share the happiness with all of you on board.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
Do you know what? That's the sort of thing I could seriously expect to see a certain host of this show who's not with us this week do.
Yeah.
Yes, it would be, wouldn't it? That's exactly the sort of thing he would do. Yeah.
It does have an Armando feel about it, doesn't it? It's
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Either that, or he'd write Megan's name in the sky with
Well, I mean, that's a given,
like
obviously.
that.
I mean,
Yeah. But what a nice thing to do, though. If you are
Yeah.
a pilot and your family member is on board, that is a very nice thing to do. So good on him, I say. Good on him.
Quite right.
So moving on to the next part of the show then, and we've had an email, haven't we, Nev?
We have, yes. Our good friend from Down Under, Grant Mclaren. We haven't heard from him for a while, actually, have we? So I hope he's well. He says, guys, remember when Tom Cruise took James Corden for a skydive? And I said that would be Matt when we crowdsourced his first jump. Well, and he's got a video to go with it, I believe.
Oh. There we go. It's not working. Bear with me.
It's not
moment.
working.
Bear with me a moment. Yeah, bear with me a moment. I'll press the right button.
Actually, I got sent the link to the video earlier on the week by Mr. Warner, who sent me the video, and I watched the video of Mr. Cruise and Mr. Corden.
We're mended now. Here we go. We're going to move on from that. Yeah. Go on, carry on, someone.
So for the next video, which has been released, I love this one. This is what we would see if we'd crowdfunded for Matt's first aerobatic ride. That would actually be good in the front seat, I think.
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. Moving on.
At least you'd have control of what you did then, Matt. So it would be all on you.
Okay, yeah.
If you're in control.
Indeed. And we'll just finish off the email that Grant saying, I must say, I wonder if I'd be able to take Matt for a balloon flight. Much more sedate. Yes, Grant, is the answer to that. 100%. I would love to have a go at a balloon flight.
So you would go in a basket in a balloon flight?
I would absolutely go in a basket with a balloon flight with Grant Mclaren, who I would trust with my life.
Okay.
So, there
you go.
That's
Grant, you heard it here.
Richard Adams has got a proposition for me, apparently, or for Grant. He's saying, hey, Grant, could sort out a balloon jump for Matt's... No, not a balloon jump. No.
Oh, yes.
No.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Is this show over yet? Sorry.
What a brilliant idea.
Oh, Dr. Steph is saying that she's on her way to go do a jump now. So there we
Honestly,
go.
do you know what? You're so lucky, Matt. You've got all these options of where you can go and do a parachute jump, or you can go in a plane, or jump out of a plane, or
Richard
go on a
Adams
balloon flight.
Richard Adams is suggesting that I am James Corden's stunt double, by the way. Not sure about that. Oh, dear.
Well, you'd certainly be richer than all us. You could afford one of those jets.
Well, that's true.
That
That is true. Oh dear, never mind. Okay, now it's time then to do the military.
Bogies 135, 50, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay.
Oh no, wait, there isn't any. Sorry about that.
I was thinking,
There
has
was
someone updated the
three
show
people
notes?
Going, seriously?
What's going on? Sorry about that.
I was disappointed, obviously, because the prospect of not having military on the show was pleasing for me. And then he now says, it's the military. No.
I thought Armando had secretly sent some videos through or something.
Absolutely, yeah.
We haven't got any military this week, unfortunately. As Armando has, obviously, he's probably still in the air. Or has he landed now? He's somewhere.
He's probably on the ground. By
He's
now,
either
I
on a
thought.
plane or somewhere like that. But we will be back. Normal programming will resume next week. Don't panic, all our military lovers of the show.
Indeed.
And also, I obviously missed the caption list for this week. But that will be back next week as well. I was slightly busy on Wednesday this week. I didn't get a chance to put it on our Facebook page. But keep your eyes open there next week on the Facebook page for that as well. But yes, so guys, I mean, that's nearly all we've done for this week, isn't it?
That
A
is.
shorter show than normal.
Shorter show than normal. I know.
Indeed.
I know.
Okay.
Richard Adams is saying in the chat room, John Travolta still flies a 747 on his PPL.
He does.
Does he now? Is it a 74 or 707?
707.
707, yeah. I thought it was 70.
No. He's probably must have had a commercial license.
Yeah.
I would imagine for that.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it yet, there's been lots of chat in the chat room about it at the moment. So if you haven't seen it yet, Top Gun, I can say, was really epic and well worth
Very
a
good.
watch.
Now, if you're like me and you've never seen Top Gun at all, and I know I can't even believe I'm saying
Did
it.
you just say you've never seen the original?
Correct. So if I was to go and see the new one, how meaningless would it be if I didn't have the experience of the first one?
There are certain aspects of the storyline that would need you to have watched the first film,
Yes.
but they do explain things in case you haven't seen the first part or first
Right.
film.
Tony S says no Top Gun spoilers, please. Yes, we will fully respect that, Tony.
No, I won't be saying anything at all about anything to do with Top Gun.
Okay, right then. Before we get into trouble, then shall we wrap up?
apart from, I'd forgotten just how blinking epic the IMAX is for sound.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the sound quality was because there are a lot of chase and fight dogfight scenes in the new Top Gun film.
Yeah.
And the audio, jeez, my word, that is rather nice, the IMAX sound quality. But obviously, Nev, you'd be the man to know all about sound quality and stuff because it's probably all to do with you.
Yeah, or perhaps I'll just go there and shut my eyes and just enjoy the sound. Or am I missing the point?
Right. Okay. I mean, sure. There are many people who are horrified. John Jester is one of them. To be fair, Nev. Also, Mark on the WhatsApp number. It's Nev, sir. You have not lived. This is definitely a bucket list item.
Well, at least I've got the guts to admit it.
No, I'll give you that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was recently in that same boat where I'd not seen it, but then I was staying at Carlos's, and Carlos has it on 3D on a 3D DVD, don't you? If I remember correctly, yeah.
It is epic. If you've not seen it, it is. If you've got a Blu-ray 3D player, and a telly that plays 3D with the old goggles on,
that would be quite important.
So good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and how much?
So good.
And how much will that cost, Nev, in order to be able to?
Oh God. Nev's probably got 2 or 3 3D TVs sitting around
course.
he's
Absolutely.
I've got one certainly.
Oh, right. Ooh,
I've
there we
never.
are then.
We've only ever watched a couple of 3D movies on it ever,
Okay.
which is a bit ridiculous as well, isn't it? If you think
I
about
know, and they sort of stopped making them now as well, which is a bit annoying.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they don't make 3D films and they don't make 3D TVs anymore. I know. So look after that one, Carlos. It could be a collector's item in no time. Especially with your
I
Blu-ray.
sincerely hope they release the new Top Gun Maverick film in 3D. Well, we'll wait and see. But anyway. So we're going to wrap up this week's show, episode 413. But we'll have a quick round robin to see what everyone's doing next week. We'll start with Mr. Bones, because he's obviously going to be jetting off to the Caribbean or somewhere, no doubt.
Well, not quite. An early flight to Edinburgh on Monday. Flying back on Tuesday, but staying at the airport because I'm then going to Brussels straight after that. So I just need a quick change of clothes and what have you, and then I'll be off to Brussels and then a small city just outside Brussels for a conference that I'm involved with right the way through until, well, I'm not flying back until Saturday morning because they've cancelled my flights a couple of times, so I've had to make some other arrangements to get back. So, but 4 BA flights this week, I'm pleased to say, and I shall be making sure that those passengers behave themselves and don't irritate me. But I also will be able to report back on what the queues are like at security and things like that.
Absolutely.
So, did you manage to get 1A this time, Nev?
Well, it was. I mean, last week was a bit of a close call. When I booked my flight to Stockholm, it said 5A.
Ooh, very near. Very near.
I don't even know what that number is.
Yeah.
But I had a word, and I eventually got it up to 1C. So
okay,
I'm
right. Nearly there. Nearly there. Very good. Yes.
And Mr. Smith, what are you up to next?
So working tomorrow, and then towards the end of the week, I'm working tomorrow. Yeah, I do work Saturdays.
Okay, fair enough.
So no need to sound quite so shocked. And then Thursday, lots of radio-y bits and pieces because it's the Jubilee and there's a big thing going on in the park, isn't there, on Thursday coming. And then I think I've got a couple of breakfast shifts. I think I'm doing the weekend breakfast, if I remember correctly. So I'm covering Saturday and Sunday, so lots of radio-y things for me next week, and then a bit of work in between. So, and of course the Queen's Jubilee, we mustn't forget, or Diamond Jubilee. My apologies. Very exciting. Platinum. Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Mr. Smith, honestly.
I know.
Platinum Jubilee.
I knew it was something.
It's a big one. It's a big one. It's a big one.
Indeed. Oh dear.
So I shall be at the Stonham Truck Show this Sunday with my truck, which I've spent all of today getting ready for the show.
Busy day today then at the yard, was it?
My shoulders will definitely feel the pain tomorrow. And so I shall be there this Sunday. Next week, obviously it's the big Platinum Jubilee weekend, but I shall be doing a wedding next Thursday, which is quite exciting. An actual wedding at a very nice venue indeed. And then Friday, I'm on the radio apparently. So I've been told today.
Yes.
And and then the following week, Matt will be here.
Well, no, he won't be because he still has to be in the studio in order to press the buttons to get us on air.
Okay. Well, Matt will be living here anyway. He'll be host.
Actually, I have set up all the remote stuff now, so we could have a go at me actually controlling it from yours. We could have a go at that.
3 screens.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Indeed. We'll have a go at that, shall we? That'll be fun.
So no, it's a busy weekend for me this weekend. A very busy weekend. I've got a karaoke night tomorrow night.
Oh,
say. It's going to be quite fun, yeah.
Gosh, I've forgotten what one of those is.
I know.
Let's do the socials very quickly.
Yes, socials. Well, let's have a look. Where are we? We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Search the social medias for Plain Talking UK. Our WhatsApp number, if you want to send us a picture or a message, is +44 757 22 49166. Our email address is podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. Love to hear your feedback on the show. If you want to send us some feedback, we'd love to hear that. Why not subscribe to our YouTube channel, get notifications when we're live, and help share the conversation of the show by joining us on YouTube. Don't forget as well on our website, the Amazon link. If you do your shopping on there, you can do it via the link on there. Won't cost you a penny, but we do get a little referral fee on there. And on our website, of course, is the P2K shop, where you can get yourself a P2K t-shirt and also one of the prestigious mugs that are very good for having coffee in. You can also become a Patreon via the website. If you want to become a patron of the show, help to keep everything running smoothly in the studio with Matt when he needs a new cable, you can become a patron of the show on there. And also, if you want to donate via PayPal, the links are all on our website.
And of course, thank you very much to Alex Robinson, who joined the family. I think it was last week, wasn't it? Yeah.
Alex Robinson joined the Patreon family last week, so thank you to you, Alex. Yeah, very, very kind of you indeed. So that is where we are going to bring episode 413 to a close of the show. Big thanks to all the hosts today for joining us. And we missed you, Armando. I know he'll be tuning in at some point to listen back, no doubt. Thanks to John as well for getting all the show notes ready for the show this evening. And thanks to everyone in the chat room for joining us tonight. Big thanks to everyone in there for joining us this Friday evening in the chat room. Don't forget, we'll be back next Friday on the show. Nev won't be with us, unfortunately, so we'll miss you, Nev.
Sorry.
And hopefully he'll be back.
Also missed 2 days holiday as well because I was working
That's the
in Belgium.
crisis.
So I did a slight error, I must say, when I mentioned to Mrs. Nev I was working this week, and she says, "You do know what days those are, don't you?" And, so I've got some making up to do somehow.
Yes, quite
Could be
right.
costly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So join us
Terrible.
next Friday for another episode of the Plain Talking UK podcast. Have a great weekend, whatever you're doing this weekend. Stay safe, fly safe, and we will see you all next Friday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye bye.